Welcome back to the Mindalorian. It's the Mandalorian review show from the people what brung you Star Wars Minute. Is that a
Star
good
Wars Minute?
Is that a good thing? What was that? Was it Dumb and Dumber or something? What is there something that they said from the people what brung you?
I've never seen all of Dumb and Dumber.
It's fine. I feel like it was presented to me as like, isn't this the most hilarious thing ever? And it was fine. There's two parts that I like.
I could see how in the right circumstances, like if I'd seen it in a theater filled with people and everyone was, I think I would have laughed at it, but
sure.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Dumb and Dumber.
This is not Dumb and Dumber Minute. This is The Mindalorian. We're here reviewing the second episode of the new Disney Plus Star Wars show, The Mandalorian.
Episode 2, The Child.
Yeah, I had to go back. We get a cold open and then a title card here. And I had to go back and see, like, did I miss the title card for the first one? Because as far as I knew, the first one was just called,
Chapter 1.
Yeah. But I went back and I scrubbed. I didn't see a title card on Chapter 1. But this is Part 2, Chapter 2, The Child. I do like, I don't know if you got it. I don't know if it's platform agnostic or whatever, but I did get a, basically like previously on Star Wars, which I like, recap the first episode a bit.
Yeah.
Which is the first time we've had that, because the first time we've had a real, maybe they did that for some Clone Wars and Rebels episodes, or what is it? The Resistance? What's the
Resistance? Yeah, Clone Wars would always start off with a kind of narration.
Right, it'd have like a newsreel, right?
Yeah, tell you basically anything you needed to know, which is kind of like a previously on, sort of setting the context. So yeah. And then we get the new, we get the Lucasfilm logo and then the Star Wars kind of brand logo, which this time had a little fanfare music with it. And I liked it more kind of, I liked it with just the beeping. I liked the sound bridge from, from the show, but the fanfare is fine. Fanfare is fine. It is some fine fanfare.
And then we jump right into it, and it's kind of almost, we're immediately where it left off last time, more or less. We've got the titular Mandalorian,
the Boba Fett,
and he's kind of wandering. And here's where it takes out. You mentioned it, I think, last episode. Here's where it definitely takes on a Lone Wolf and Cub vibe.
Yeah,
it's very much, the warrior and the baby cart.
Right.
Baby cart. Nobody calls it that, right?
Baby cart, not like a cart that isn't grown up yet.
Exactly. It's like a cartridge, but a smaller one.
A cartlet.
Cartilage. Yeah. So so we get this great moment again, going back to stuff that I said last episode. It's not afraid to be quiet, and we get this great moment. It starts out him just kind of walking with the baby cart. And then,
there's a lot of scenes of them just walking, him walking and the baby floating. There's a lot of kind of moody pieces like that. Yeah, and
from as far as I'm concerned, not in a bad way. That somebody once pointed to that within Lone Wolf and Cub, the comic, as the one of the standout things. One of the things that makes it so good is the pacing of it. That you'll have a full page of just kind of the guy slowly. I've forgotten the main character's name. I'm sorry.
Lone Wolf.
Walking towards you, over a hill or something like that, and it'll just let that happen. And,
right.
Just kind of establishing the mood, establishing the setting, this kind of beautiful pacing that we get a bit of it here. And I appreciated it. It's him in the baby cart, and then there's a quiet moment while you know that something's up. It builds tension just by being quiet. You don't need the like, ba, 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 ba,
Yeah.
As much as I love my pa 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 pa, like it's best used when in small doses and when appropriate.
Yeah, it loses its specialness if everything is a pa 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 moment. It kind of reminded me, of R2 in the when he's going through the Jundland wastes, and he's captured by Jawas, which of course.
Interesting.
Foreshadowing of what's to come, but
exactly.
It kind of reminded me of that, of him stopping and looking around and that stuff.
Yeah. But instead of Jawas, the titular Mandalorian gets beset by Trandoshans. I'm assuming.
I got into a discussion with our friend Chris Radke about this.
Okay.
And do you have any information? Because he said they're Trandoshans, and I think I've heard that's what he said, and that's what he said.
That's what he said.
And then I saw references to Trandoshans in some of the publicity material, but when you look at them, they don't look like the Trandoshan that we've seen, namely Bosk. Like their head, these almost look like human Trandoshan hybrids. Like their hands don't have those weird long arms that Bosk has, and the feet don't look like Bosk's, very familiar feet. So I'm wary about that. These are true Trandoshans.
Well, according to the Wikipedia, the creatures that show up are Trandoshans or Trandoshans, depending on. This is, I feel like, normally where somebody else would correct us, but. Correct.
Someone at home is doing it. I don't like that they're Trandoshans.
Yeah. I
don't mind if they're Trandoshans, but not Trandoshans.
They're a Trandoshan. It's interesting because it's the is it verging too much on the thing where it's just like, well, we've seen one Trandoshan bounty hunter, so Trandoshans must all be, like these, as we later find out, these are bounty hunters set on the same thing. Is it just because, bounty hunters, there are some Trandoshans? Is it kind of reducing them to, one thing that we saw? That's what the race is defined by.
Yeah, well, that's definitely. I didn't even think about that factor, but yeah, that's well, everyone's a bounty hunter in Star Wars, so it's kind of like hard to not fall back. The default occupation for everyone is bounty hunter. So,
right.
I don't know. Have we seen any Trandoshan astronauts or accountants or presidents?
Yeah, who's the president of Trandosha? Let's see.
Who's
Trandosha?
Oh, it's Bosk Nass.
It's an arboreal. Or Bosk Tweed. He's the.
Yeah, there you go.
Inhabitants, sentient reptilian humanoids. Dosha, the Trandoshan homeworld, was the main setting of the original script for Padawan Lost, the 21st episode of the animated television series Star Wars The Clone Wars 3rd season, but this locale was later changed to Waska, Trandosha's moon.
Waska.
Although not visited, Trandosha can still be seen in the episode's final version as well as the following episode, Wookiee Hunt, both of which aired on April Fool's Day 2011. Trandosha traces its origins to the 1996 Star Wars Legends story, short story, The Prize Pelt, The Tale of Bosk, written by Kathy Tyers and featured in the anthology book, Tales of the Bounty Hunters. So I don't see, that's of course all canon, the canon listing. I don't see who I'm looking in the Legends part to see anything about the government of Trandosha, but I don't.
What do you think it is? A monarchy, the kingdom, monarchy? Is it a technocracy?
I'm trying to see what doesn't say. Let's see class. I see climate, grid coordinates. They're
constitutional monarchy.
Tribal government is tribal.
Tribal.
So I'm assuming there's some kind of warlord or chieftain of. You think there's one Trandoshan to rule them all, or is it just a bunch of different disorganized tribes?
Well, it says I guess maybe it's because I don't know if it's cultural bias, but I guess whenever you hear tribes, you think of like a bunch of squabbling small groups. You don't think of like one tribe that runs the whole planet.
It does have a capital city though. Hishkor is the capital city, so maybe it is. It's a loosely organized, like a federation of tribes, essentially.
Like the Dark Crystal.
Sure. They're major.
It's my go-to analogy for everything. Can drag the Dark Crystal into it.
Major imports, technology. Major exports, slaves and mercenaries.
Wow. So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird that their export is slaves. Does that mean they are exporting Trandoshan slaves?
No, I think they're like a clearinghouse. Like they go get a bunch of Wookiees, and then people come to them for.
So then, wouldn't Wookiees also be listed as an imported good?
Because
they're bringing the Wookiees to Trandoshan, and then they're selling them, then they're exporting them from Trandoshan. So it seems like they're importing just as many Wookiees as they are exporting.
I guess so. Oh, I've just been handed a note. The Reichsa is the war chief of Trandoshan. Trandosha. War chief of Trandosha.
Isn't it just Dosha?
Dosha is the language, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And it's also a tasty lunchtime snack, right?
Mm-hmm. Put it in your lunch basket.
But yeah, so we get beset by Trandoshans. We don't look exactly like the one that we've seen, but hey, that's not all Earthlings look the same.
Maybe they have a population of captive Wookiees that they have, and they just sell those.
Stock.
Yeah, and then they just sell those that basically that's the ones they export, are the ones that they're breeding there on Trandoshan.
Right.
But Wookiees must have a slow, that's a poor system, because Wookiees must have a.
Yeah, they live for a long time.
Long time. So you think an adult Wookiee would take
Well, plus 50... then you sell one, and nobody needs another one for 200 years.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's why Trandosha is probably limited. And it's
they can't even afford shoes.
Or socks.
Socks.
Yeah, I was trying to think of shoebosk.
Well, we see something here that we've never seen before. Finally, we see our first disintegration.
Yeah, it took me until he said it later that I had to go back and be like, oh, right, disintegrations.
Yeah.
They were previously off the table, but here, their disintegrations aplenty.
I like that their clothes get left behind. It's very rapture-y.
Oh, or like Obi-Wan, similar. Maybe all of these Trandoshans and Jawas are becoming one with the Force.
they're all Force. Maybe they'll show up in the Rise of Skywalker. Although actually, no, this is after. No, this is before Rise of Skywalker, because this is. Maybe they'll show up in Rise of Skywalker. I hope so.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool, the disintegrations. I wonder why more people don't use them.
Well, it might be I don't know. It might be not a hidden technology, but a kind of a less frequently used technology. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not, it's not experimental, but something. Maybe not everybody has access to it. Essentially.
Yeah, that seems like it would come in handy, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and so after a brief battle. The package is safe. We get the title card, the child. I want to give a shout out to. We had some conversation over whether this was CG or a puppet. I'm assuming it's a puppet. I
have some information on that.
Oh, okay.
It is a puppet.
Okay, good.
It reminds me. Go ahead.
It reminds me very much of the Yoda puppet that I had as a child, like the Empire Strikes Back era Yoda puppet. At times, the little kind of like one piece of rubber.
Yeah.
With hair. One piece of rubber with hair.
Yeah, Yoda.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Werner Herzog of all people, and he was talking about the Baby Yoda puppet, And he was saying that in real life, it looked so realistic in real life that he said it moved him to tears.
I can picture him saying that too. It's pretty awesome.
So yeah.
I'm hoping that a lot of those extras get posted. I've been checking out as much as I can on the extras section of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Each thing has extras and as a tab,
Mm-hmm.
and I like that. I hope that gets more populated as extras get developed. A lot of the extras that they've thrown in there so far have been stuff that we've seen from other sources. From either the DVDs or Blu-rays. I think the Phantom Menace extras look like they're just taken straight from either the DVDs or like streaming web clips. They look like looks like you're watching it through wax paper. It looks terrible.
I was impressed when I looked at the Star on the New Hope extras, and it has a bunch of deleted scenes that I mean, all stuff that we'd seen before, but the fact that it was there readily available, I thought that was very handy because they don't usually.
They might have been those might have been included on the Blu-ray box set.
I never got
I'm
the
not
Blu-rays.
terribly familiar with it. But it's great to see the Tashi Station scene and stuff like that in kind of beautiful, highest possible quality.
Yeah. And I love that rough cut of the cantina too.
But
we're not here to talk about Star Wars. We're here to talk about the Mandalorian.
Yeah, so we get so the Yoda puppet, which also reminds me of Gizmo. I've been talking a lot about Gremlins recently, and it was very much on my mind, perhaps, but it's very much a similar thing.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
And from that battle, we also get to see that within the Mandalorian's armor, there's some circuitry, which I don't. We never really saw that in Boba or Jango when they got sliced up. We never saw circuitry in their armor.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I almost feel like they put. When I first saw this, and then later on when the Jawas shoot him, I was like, oh, they just put that in there specifically so that when the Jawas shoot him, they'll have a reason why he is vulnerable to that, as opposed to, because I assume that Jawa gun that they shoot R2 with wouldn't hurt a human, like it would just do circuitry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like an EMP.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch that son. He's got a Jawa gun. It's another good kind of fairly quiet scene that we get him kind of sitting around the campfire. The package is there, and he's kind of healing himself. Performing Rambo style self-surgery, and much like E.T. or Gizmo. The package is curious and reaches out to help, and we get a moment where it's also you're like, oh, does he have the Force? Is he gonna use the Force? And then the titular Mandalorian kind of backs up and is like, cut it out, you're being weird, which he is.
Once Baby Yoda left the baby box, that's when I started my warning flags started to alarm.
Your wish warning flags.
The warning flags that I'm okay with Baby Yoda being kind of like a MacGuffin, but once the MacGuffin starts like interacting with people and being cute and all that, I'm like, like warning, this could get very treacly. So just wanted to say that this was where I first started being a little bit wary. So.
Okay, noted for the record.
And also, how unobservant is he's the worst bounty hunter in the world, because like the other day he got surprised when that monster ran up to him while he was looking through binoculars, and in this time he's getting surprised by a baby which is 2 feet away from him, and he cannot see it when it starts climbing out of the baby box.
Well, he's occupied.
I guess so, but that's how would Baby Yoda get out of that and not like tumble to the ground, and I don't know.
Based purely on the what we've seen in the first episode and the beginning of this episode, I would posit that, based purely on screen time and activity, that he is either the best or second best bounty hunter that we've seen. It's a tight race between Zam Wessel and the titular Mandalorian as far as like who managed to get anything done. Boba Fett, just stands there, just basically like hides in the trash and then like lets everybody know where to go. He doesn't do any capturing.
It's true.
And then he gets knocked into a pit and dies. Well, or not. The rest of the bounty hunters don't even get that far. The rest of the ones from the Execucizer.
That's true.
Greedo, as much as I love him, shows up and gets shot at the table. He doesn't even make it out of negotiations.
They were short.
I can't think of a bounty hunter that's been more effective.
That's true. We at least saw him catch. He has at least one bounty that we've seen. Well, actually, it's a couple. We saw him catch Horatio Sands, and now he's captured Baby Yoda.
I don't like Sands. He's and presumably he captured all the other ones that were in his locker there. Those other kind of half-dozen frozen folks. So as far as I can tell, he is the best bounty hunter in the galaxy.
All right. Well, let me say he's not very observant. How about that? He gets very focused when he's doing something that he loses. He doesn't pay attention to his surroundings, which as a bounty hunter can be a deadly mistake.
It could be. You're right.
Anyway.
So then he has that kind of fake out force moment. Gets back to his ship, which is the Eagle's Claw or the
Razor Catcher,
Razor Fist, vehicles Razor Crest. There you go. Right. I was. It's very much a kind of a bathroom sink kind of name. I'm sure that's how it was named. He gets back and discovers that his ship is being scavenged or what's the word? Looted, dismantled, essentially.
Recycled, I would say. Recycled, something more positive.
Exactly. Upcycled.
It's being reused, recycled, and renewed.
And reduced. Yeah.
Reduced. It is being reduced.
By Jawas. And,
Jawas!
You had to be happy about that.
I was. I love the Sandcrawler. I love Jawas.
Yeah, this is a different strain of Jawa. These are some black robe, red eye Jawas.
Yeah, I looked up on the Wikipedia, and it does say that Jawas are native to Tatooine. So I'm guessing these are like an offshoot species or race or whatever.
They can. I'm assuming they can live in other places.
Oh yeah,
just like horses. I don't know why that was my first go-to, but as it goes on, we've got maybe forever ago there were some Jawas were brought to a different place where they a comparable environment, and that's how they developed. They
evolved
eyes
differently.
And there's different materials that they make their cloaks out of, so they've got.
I got no beef with Jawas being here. I will say I'm a little less. I'm excited to see the Sandcrawler, so I'll allow it. But like the fact that Jawas on Tatooine had a Sandcrawler, and these Jawas also somehow have they don't build Sandcrawlers. On Tatooine they found the Sandcrawlers that miners had left behind. So it seems like a very big coincidence that someone also happened to leave Sandcrawlers on this planet as well. So I would say that I'm okay with Jawas. But they should not be in a Sandcrawler. That seems too coincidental that this totally different race of Jawas also happens to have a Sandcrawler. But you got to get your fan service in there somehow.
Well, yeah, unless they were transported en masse to. It's like, all right, everybody get in the Sandcrawler. We're going on a road trip, essentially. I hear there's good scavenging going on this other planet.
That seems really ambitious for Jawas.
I don't know. They're don't be fooled by they seem to just have a fairly.
I can't abide them.
They're good retailers, so I'm sure they're branching
Are
out.
they?
They're opening up another location. They're franchising.
Yeah. Well, anyway, like I said, though, I'm willing to give it a pass because I'm excited to see the Sandcrawler, especially when you see the Sandcrawler, the front door opening up, and you get to see the all sorts of. You get to see the inside, the cockpit, and everything. So yeah, I'm happy about that.
The cool little like what's up, like kind of telephone system thing.
Yeah. Was that Yellow Submarine you were doing?
Yeah, a little bit.
And I love the detail of them having using the roof for all I don't know what they're drying their laundry or something's going on.
Yeah, it seems like
the
they've
sun
got
deck.
Patio furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I really like those. Those are nice touches. Those little details. So
yeah, it's definitely cool. That's up to the again if you make it cool and it makes sense with the story, great. Then we can that's up to the expanded universe authors to make it all fit together.
Yeah,
they get to be the glue. You just make the cool stuff happen.
Yeah, we'll tell you how it happens. You just make something happen.
That's probably why that's one of the reasons why the some of the prequel stuff maybe gets bogged down because it's trying to be the glue.
Yes.
Instead of the meat, which is a mixed metaphor there, but you know what I'm talking about.
A glue sandwich, some horse meat. So then the Boba Fett goes to try to stop the Jawas from leaving, and he gets into a big Jawa brawl.
Yeah, he definitely kills a lot of them, and it's I was
shocked. I was shocked at first. That he was just killing, because the only people we know who killed Jawas so far is Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. So seeing him just killing them willy-nilly was shocking.
Well, he's a tough character.
Oh, yeah. And plus, clearly everyone that were in the world hates Jawas. They think of them as subhuman, disgusting creatures.
If C-3PO hates you.
Yeah, exactly. He's designed to be polite and protocol-y.
Yeah, Mr. Protocol hates you, then something's got to be up.
The whole battle though seemed very. It reminded me of a mishmash of a lot of different things. It reminded me of Last Crusade.
Sure.
When Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Crusade, when he's hanging on the side of the tank and they're trying to smush him on the side of the cliffs. It reminded me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, when all the Jawas were throwing stuff down at him as he was trying to, the French soldiers do in Holy Grail. And it also reminded me of the Batman TV show when he was climbing up the rope and the Jawas were peeking out of the windows. I almost wanted to see Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah.
Who would today's cameos be? Be like Kevin Smith.
Yeah, could be Kevin Smith. I feel like who's that guy that pops up on everything? John Legend.
James Corden.
I feel like John Legend is on TV all the time, guest starring on different things. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I could see that.
I only know him from TV guest starring appearances, I feel like.
Yeah, John Legend would be a good one.
Yeah, it also reminded me a little bit of kind of Luke on the outside of the sail barge too.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
And so it's a good, again, a good mishmash of influences that made for an exciting scene. And seeing that, and I love that it ends unsuccessfully for the titular Mandalorian.
I was
all the way up there, and then there's just a bunch of Jawas with their zappers, and they just blast them.
That I really like that shot of them when he gets to the top, and they all say the same thing that not Pete the Jawa, but the main Jawa says. He's like "Hoya" or whatever when they all pull up their guns and all pretty much say the same thing. So it's funny. I also never thought of all the Jawas carrying guns. I only thought the main Jawa carried a gun.
Well, again, it varies.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Well, the main Jawa from the motion picture is definitely a control freak. He doesn't want anybody else to have the gun.
Yeah. Unless guns are just more
kind of.
Yeah, or guns are just more plentiful here that they have enough to spread around.
Right, they just stole like 50 guns from him. So
I'd say about 20 guns.
Some on the surface, some in the closet.
One weird thing is this one part where he throws a Jawa off the top of the sandcrawler.
Yeah.
And you see the Jawa fall a la Wile E. Coyote, but then when he hits the ground, he just kind of like vanishes. It reminded me of like a video game, where, like when the character dies, you don't actually see. Maybe just seeing a Jawa's body hit the ground would be too harsh. So they're like, let's just kind of fudge it a bit and have him just kind of disappear in a puff of smoke.
Well, I'm assuming, there's dust being kicked up by the sandcrawler that he fell into. But
overall, a great set piece.
Yeah. Nice kind of, and like you said, like the Monty Python kind of bit. Like, and I love, despite, they end up having weapons up on the top, but I love the kind of everyday Jawas just using junk as weapons because that's what they have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's almost like the Ewoks.
Yeah, totally. Great scene.
Yeah. And then you see, he wakes up, makes his way back to the Ugnulti's house. You get I love the one thing that the quiet allows us to experience is I love the grunts and the breathing that we get from him. It's good, it makes it feel more physical, more real. That as he's getting beaten up, and after when he's kind of recovering from stuff, and when he's doing a lot of these long walks and stuff like that, like you hear him grunting and kind of panting sometimes, and it's a good, it's a nice touch.
Yeah, definitely a human. It kind of reminded me of in the same way that Indiana Jones is always like losing and getting beat up and stuff like he's not like a Terminator or a like a killing machine type guy. He's he's a human. So I also like when he goes to check out the ship and it's all wrecked. I thought it would have been nice if there was like Jawa graffiti and like poop everywhere and like they totally like beer cans and stuff. They totally like trashed it. Right,
like with that little like subway graffiti, really rough cartoon drawing of a penis.
Yeah, done on the outside of his ship. That would have been
right. Yeah,
flying around with that for the rest of the series.
Yeah,
his ship kind of looks like him, doesn't it?
Jawa. A little bit.
Like the front of it looks like just that. I was just playing in the background here, and just the front the ship almost looks like his head. It matches that kind of Art Deco-y.
Right.
Anyway,
that's appropriate.
Ugnulti.
We get back to Ugnulti's house. And he's this kind of, wise, patient character. He kind of, knows the deal, kind of guides him on his way.
He makes a point of saying that Jawas steal, they don't destroy.
Right. Which is important. Then we get more puppet Yoda walking around, or what was our Yodel the puppet walking around the package on his out on his own, and he has an interaction with a space frog of some sort. Which is interesting. How are there frogs there? This looks like a desert planet. First of all, I guess maybe they're there for the moisture because there's a moisture farmer.
Well, and also the very next scene when they're walking to try to find the Jawas, it's pouring rain. So like there must be some. This guy's anyway. I don't like that he's a moisture farmer. I wish they'd made him like a carrot farmer or something. Especially since if you're gonna have it raining, well, how could you put a bucket out? You're a moisture farmer if it's buckets of rain. But anyway, I do like that.
I don't remember it raining at all.
Yeah, the very next scene when they ride the creature and they go to find the sandcrawler, it's at nighttime and they're walking and it's pouring rain.
I don't.
Thunder, lightning, everything.
Thunderbolt, lightning, very very frightening.
But yeah, I love I like the Yoda eating the frog routine. Nice callback to Jabba the Hutt there.
Right. That made me. I have a question. Do you think that there were frogs in Yoda's stew?
I think Yodas are omnivores. I think they'll eat anything.
Well, which made me. They're plentiful. It seems like there are more, creatures around on where Yoda was on Dagobah than there were. I mean, there was a lot of vegetation, but not a lot of it seemed like terribly edible. There weren't a lot of fruits or vegetables that I saw. There was just a lot of vines and leaves and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that made me wonder, like, were there frogs and lizards and stuff in the stew? And if so, what is that? Why Luke didn't like it? Does Luke not eat frogs?
Well, Yoda would have to eat anything that he could get. It's not like he can grow crops there or anything. He has to have a wide. He has to be willing to eat a lot of different stuff if you're going to live in a swamp.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So, I bet he does eat frogs.
Yeah. Yoda.
Yeah.
Well, Yoda. I think no matter what he does, I was just wondering if it was in the stew.
Oh yeah.
No way of knowing.
I'll say yes. It was in the stew. I like that we get a scene of an Ugnaught interacting with Jawas, and I'm really hoping that we eventually get a scene with an Ugnaught, a Jawa, and an Ewok, the Jack Purvis special. Have
Hopefully
them all...
they walk into a bar.
Yes, exactly. So we're getting there.
Yeah,
and I love the idea that Nick Nolte is speaking Jawese.
Yeah. Yeah, and it works for, like, despite the fact that we've mainly heard Jawa in that kind of like high pitched chirpy voice, like hearing him say stuff in his like kind of right. It totally works.
Yeah.
I'm glad they've had a light hand with Utini.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is exactly where it's a pitfall. It's a trap waiting to be. It's a trap. Speaking of which, there's a lot of kind of cliche fan servicey stuff that you could easily fall into, which it seems like they're not. They do some, like I said, audio. Some of the audio stuff is audio pandering to a certain extent, but again, it's elevated above the kind of low-hanging fruit of references for the most part. Does that make sense?
I was totally. I was really impressed with the Jawa dialogue.
Yeah.
You call it that, because like we pointed out last week with the Jabba's door, the door droid and Garindian, you can definitely recognize a lot of reused sound effects. But considering how many Jawas are in this bit, I heard they might have heard like one Utini, but for the and a couple of little odd bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I did not. They did a good job of getting new Jawa. I wonder if it's easier because it was basically just like a real life language, just kind of sped up and chopped up. So that would be pretty easy to just find those same people who speak that same language, just record them doing stuff, and then speed up, as opposed to having to make up a language like Hadith or whatever. But good work, sound department.
Well, one of the new words in Jawese that we hear, which is one of my new favorite things, is suga.
Suga.
And if
that means egg, right?
Yeah, the egg. If you think for a second that I'm going to be able to make breakfast at any point in the next couple of months without saying suga.
Is the suga or tuga?
Suga, I thought.
Huh.
Why, you think it's tuga?
I thought it was tuga because to me it sounded like they were saying like toga, like a toga party.
Well, they're already wearing robes, so they can't have a toga
that's true.
party. They have to have a suga party.
Yeah.
I
forgot, I did not mention it, but earlier, our first burp joke. When
Really?
Yoda eats baby Yoda, when Yoda eats the frog, he burps afterwards, adorably.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't.
So
I don't know if I caught that.
yeah. Again, my spider sense was tingling that this. I didn't like where this was going, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. So they send the titular Mandalorian on the quest for the Suga.
Mm-hmm.
Um.
Oh, so sorry. One other thing before we get to the egg quest.
Mhm.
There's a scene where Nick Nolte is speaking Jawa, and even the Mandalorian speaks a bit of Jawa before he attacks them with the flamethrower.
Yeah, he does it badly.
But it made me think about all these scenes in all the Star Wars we've seen of people trying to speak a foreign language. And we've seen it a couple of times. Even 3PO. We've seen 3PO haltingly. Yeah. What a Detoa.
Oh yeah, he speaks Huttese and Ewokies.
Yeah. Who else have we seen? Han Solo, and in Solo he speaks Kazook.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Kazukian.
Mm-hmm.
There's a I mean, you could count kind of. I would count Bib Fortuna dipping into basic every once in a while.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Jawas, don't they say Wookiee in basic in this? That you say when he starts to speak Jawa, they say, "Oh, you sound like a Wookiee."
Yeah, I think Wookiee is just Wookiee in. You know.
That's what I mean. But they're using another. It's like when you see like someone speaking like Spanish, and then suddenly an English word will just jump out at you because you'll recognize it. So that's what. Anyway,
that's an interesting though. Like the Wookiee word for Wookiee isn't Wookiee. I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I've never understood I've never understood that about why Wookiees have a language that they can't say. Like presumably during the holiday special, Mala must have said Chewbacca at one point. What did it sound like in?
Well, when Chewie introduces himself to Han in Solo, he's like Chewbacca. So there's something interesting going on there that I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But to me, let's put on a kind of a linguist, anthropology kind of hat and think that I would say that just means that Jawas first encountered Wookiees via a different race who referred to them in using the basic term.
I agree.
So that Jawas and Wookiees had no interaction until they were. Somebody else referred to them as Wookiees. Right. So the Jawa word for Wookiee is Wookiee because they learned it from a different race who spoke basic.
I'm starting to think that Wookiees are the most put upon and discriminated against race in Star Wars.
Wookiees are droids. They're both up there.
Droids.
If you're not counting droids as a race, then that would be evidence that droids are more put upon.
Oh, that would prove. That would only prove. That would prove your point.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, so of the biological races we've seen, I feel like Wookiees get the least amount of respect. Princess Leia calls one a walking carpet. Even the Jawas are making fun of Wookiees.
Right.
Like, these poor Wookiees. No one cares that they're being attacked by the droids.
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. I like Wookiees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here he goes on the egg quest.
Quest for eggs.
He goes into there's as I said, you said it, I guess there was rain, which I didn't notice, but my comment was, there's an awful lot of dank for a desert. It's kind of like, Jabba's basement. There's a lot of moisture and humidity, and so in this cave, it's super wet, and there's puddles outside and stuff like that.
That cave also reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the rabbit, the killer rabbit, lived. Right.
And so he goes in, and then here's another battle with the monster, which
the Mudhorn.
The Mudhorn. And there's this what Loretta? What were their names? The Lockhorns.
Oh my gosh, Loretta and Leroy.
Wait, is it really Loretta and
Yeah.
Leroy?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize they were alliteratively named.
Loretta and Leroy Lockhorn.
All right. So that's we get the Mudhorn, which is a new creature invented for this show.
I like it.
Yeah, and it well done. I'm assuming it's some kind of mix of practical and computer effects. It could be all computer, but whatever it is, it looks good. It fits in with its environment and is a realistic. It presents a believable threat.
It looks like an actual real prehistoric creature, an Earth prehistoric creature. So
yeah, doesn't roll into a ball. Doesn't have doesn't try to eat the camera once again.
The first thing I thought of when I saw it was that the thing that from the Dothraki arena in Attack of the Clones. That what was that thing called?
Yeah, and I was going to say Hapabor, because the Hapabor is the thing that doesn't fart in The Force Awakens, but the Reek.
The Reek wasn't the Reek.
The Reek was the big bull kind of one.
Oh, okay. That's nothing a good name for that creature.
The Reek, the
meerkat, and
that's the Nexu, and then
Dr. Ackley.
Mr. Ackley.
Mr. Ackley. Those Dr. Acula. But also, so it's funny that's what it reminded me of, because of course that creature fights Jango Fett, and it's a similar thing where this trying to lasso this big creature, and
there you go.
So niceness, and it's like poetry kind of, in that it rhymes.
Yeah,
I don't like that. The Boba Fett does not have like a heat vision on his built into his helmet.
No, I do like that. Because I'll tie that in with one of my next notes, is that I like the see-through visor. Like when there are moments where he is backlit and you can see that the
by his chin,
visor part, the kind of Y front, sunglass looking part is kind of transparent, or translucent at least, rather. Which is nice. It makes it look real, and I dig it. And so that when that goes with that, those go together. I feel like, and even Boba Fett. Remember I feel like the toy he had to have his little scope flop down to do stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't just built into his display. He had to have his little antenna pop down in front of his eyes so he could look through it to do stuff.
So this Boba Fett got like the cheaper version. It doesn't have the option, the heat vision option.
Yeah, he's got to pay for that upgrade.
He's got to bring more of that metal back to the Mandalorian homeworld to get it.
Yeah, he's got to go get more Valerian steel to bring back to. Yeah, so that he has a fight with a monster, and it looks like this might be it for him. He's basically prepping for, kind of a Pyrrhic victory of sorts, where he's just kind of got his knife. He's exhausted. He's kind of got his knife held in front of him, and he's like, "All right, well, we're both gonna."
I like that he's just almost like so pathetically, like he's holding the knife out, but he's almost like not even looking. He like looks down at the ground while he's holding the knife out. Like he's like, well, technically I'm going down fighting, even though I'm like averting my eyes from my impending doom.
Yeah. But then the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And this is again, it's I'm so far. I'm still okay with the way it's being done, but I am also a little bit. My concern level has gone from 0 to at least on. What's the alert system? What was the threat level blue or something like that. Whatever the lowest like it's not no, it's not there's not nothing. There's just like be
DEFCON 2.
Maybe. Wait, doesn't it go backwards?
Oh, I don't know. You're at the one stage above situation normal.
Yes. Let's see. DEFCON is the scale. Operations levels. Here we go.
Is DEFCON 1 the
DEFCON
worst?
DEFCON 1 is nuclear war is imminent.
Okay.
So I'm more of a
DEFCON 4.
DEFCON 5 is lowest state of readiness.
Mm-hmm.
DEFCON 4 is increased intelligence, watch, and strength and security measures. So maybe I'm that. Maybe I'm at DEFCON 4 now.
I think that pushed me up to DEFCON 3.
Increase in force readiness. Oh, there you go. Above that required for normal readiness.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I don't. It's worried me a little bit that we're not going to get out of here without seeing a lightsaber.
Yeah.
But it's still well done. And I'm still enjoying it. But we have a little bit of force use from Yodel.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't solve, he doesn't magically solve the problem. He just kind of like does a little bit of lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And then that gives the titular Mandalorian enough time to strategically reposition himself.
With that knife, which kills it. That's what? I don't understand that.
Well, because he was on the defensive. He was getting attacked the whole rest of the time and didn't have... Once he had a moment to kind of figure it out, he just went straight for the vulnerable power point, pressure point, or whatever, the kill spot that he knows, he knows that stabbing it here will kill it, but he just didn't have a chance to get to that because he was just on the defensive the whole time. He was getting chased around and knocked around.
There might be something to it because when he shoots the grappling thing first, it seems like he shoots for the same spot.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that. Okay, somehow the Boba Fett might know this one creature's particularly one weak spot, but he barely sticks the knife in like 2 inches into that thing. Like how? Right. What is the thing's brain right up against the skin?
Yeah, it could
like
be.
A creature that size, I feel like you'd have to, it would take more than just that knife going in 2 or 3 inches. Like a bullfight, they're sticking swords in those things and they're still fighting. I don't know. It seems a little like comical to me that now suddenly this tiny little knife is going to take down this giant creature.
If he had done one tiny little backup blaster shot or
stuck it in his neck and then the thing bled out or something. It just like he sticks it in and it like instantly dies, which I guess along with what you were saying sort of points to a kind of like you got this one vulnerable spot that it's what's that thing called that the babies have? The whatever that thing's Fontanelle.
Fontanelle. There you go.
Yeah. So maybe it was a baby rhino. He killed a baby rhino.
Yeah. Well, that I also I didn't think of that he is protecting the this baby of a different species because it reminds him of when he was a young person.
Yeah.
And he was presumably stripped from his family. And but then to get his stuff back, here he goes and is willing to kind of strip the unborn child of this Lockhorn in the middle and like kill the parent. I guess if the Jawas wanted to eat a baby Lockhorn, then he would have had to be like, well, I'm not going to do that. But
you think he would have? I think he would have done it.
He probably would have anyway. I guess it's a matter of sentience. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's established so far that this guy hates monsters like that. So far he's knocked 2 into unconsciousness and killed one in 2 episodes. So he does not like monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone had told me, hey, we're going to do a TV show about Boba Fett fighting monsters.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to say yes. What am I going to complain about that?
I'll pay $7 a month for that.
At least for a while.
So yeah, then he stabs the Lockhorn and retrieves the Suga. Should have been a little more like, you mentioned kind of toga. Like I want more of that kind of 80s frat party movie vibe where he comes back and just like holds it above his head. And he's like, "Suga," and they're all like, "Suga, Suga." But it's a good like. I don't know that I needed to have them enjoying it.
I liked it. It kind of was a nice contrast to the sort of high stakes seriousness, and then it's just them eating this giant Cadbury egg.
And it
well, now spilling half of it because they're just kind of jamming their hands into it, and
it is a funny like it's like a delicacy which has value, which again makes me think the Jawas are more advanced than you're giving them credit. Because they're also the stuff that they got. They had less than a day's work probably stripping his ship, and yet there's this delicacy that takes that they obviously have a hard time retrieving. They can't get, but once they realize they have this opportunity, like, oh well, we can have this. That's great. We haven't had that in a while, and it's basically it's not they're doing the math. There's like it's not, if we can get this, which would cost all of it. Granted, they did lose a handful of their friends, which is. But
even the Jawas don't hold Jawa life in much
exactly
in much high regard.
It's an interesting I like that. I like it too now that I think about it again, I do like it. That it's just this kind of very simple delicacy. Did remind me a little bit of the movie Caveman.
Totally.
But yeah, not in a bad way. I think there are very few things that remind me of Caveman in a bad way.
Maybe when
revisiting,
when
I
he
need
went
to go back and watch Caveman, but I probably don't. Somebody who's watched Caveman in the last 30 years can tell me like, no, I'm good.
I think I did watch a bit of it when it was on cable or something, or maybe on YouTube or something, because I loved that movie when I saw it as a kid.
Oh,
I
watched it a lot. I don't think I knew until later that was it's the guy from the Beatles.
I think that was
in the Beatles.
I think I definitely knew Ringo from that before I knew he was from the Beatles. Yeah. Maybe it would have been a good thing where if the Mandalorian goes into the cave and then he kills the rhino, he kills the mudhorn, and then suddenly you see a baby mudhorn like come out of the cave, like a doe, like not a doe, like a what's a baby deer called? A fawn. A fawn.
Fawn.
Yeah. And so then it would cut to him with Baby Yoda and the baby mudhorn, like he's leading this pack of children.
He's got like a sled full of babies that he's just kind of going around.
Yeah.
I would like to see the baby Lockhorn comes out and sees that he just killed. It's almost like the Boba Jango scene from the Petronaki Arena. That the baby Lockhorn comes out, sees that this Mandalorian just killed his father, and then goes and puts his head up to it and essentially vows to avenge him inside his. And so then you've got Boba Fett who hates Jedi, and then you've got the Steve Lockhorn who hates Mandalorians, and he's chasing Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm. And then to go full circle, Mace Windu hated the Lockhorns.
Oh, there you go.
More than anything, so it's they're part of a symbiote circle. It's interesting that you referred to the Lockhorn as the father of the baby, as opposed to the mother, considering that the egg is in there. But
we see one and we see an egg. So yeah,
but we don't know. It could be like seahorses, where the males are responsible for.
I just figured it was so dumb and aggressive. I figured it had to be the male of the species,
big horn and everything.
Yeah. But maybe.
So then we get a ship fixing montage as Ugnulty and the Boba Fett fix up the ship.
Yeah, I wrote.
He says this will take days to do. It seems like that would take like months.
I don't know. Maybe the Jawas managed to strip it in what we're assuming is overnight, or one day.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to wreck stuff than it is to put it together.
True. But also, Ognulti is very talented. We can assume that he's a skilled.
That's true. Like all Ugnaughts, he is good with machinery and engineering.
Mm-hmm. I wrote A-Team because that kind of fix-it montage. I love it.
And then
I would love to take that and put the one of the
Rocky montages.
No, yeah,
Rocky
any of those 80s, maybe not the training montages, but the like putting stuff together. Like I'm thinking of like was it Rock Until You Drop from Monster Squad, or any one of those kind of putting stuff together, getting the army ready kind of montages.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones. If anybody can remember another one, find a good 80s non-training kind of an equipment montage from the 80s that you can put over that.
Not bad to the bone.
No, certainly not.
And then we have a tearful goodbye to Ognulti. I was disappointed. I was kind of hoping he was going to come along with him.
Is this the end of Ognulti? I wrote.
Do you think we'll see him again?
I don't know. It seems like, and I'm not faulting it, just because it's unexpected. But I'm a little bit, the way that they set up the kind of the lead up to this show, had it be like, oh, and we've got this guy, and then now, granted 2 out of 8 episodes, so it's like a quarter of the show, but we lost IG-11 after 1 episode. We lost, we're leaving Ognulti after 2 episodes. Like, I'm into the fact that they're willing to just kind of, they're following the story and not just kind of necessarily keeping characters around just to keep them around. The way that the show was billed beforehand, you thought that a lot of these characters might be showing up in every episode, but I'm okay with where it's going. It's just it's an interesting surprise.
Yeah, one thing that occurred to me is there's no other like like subplots, or like we're basically just following the Mandalorian at all time. We don't cut away to someone else, tracking the Mandalorian, and we're always with him. We don't see any other perspectives so far. So
it's not there's no parallel action.
Right.
But it works.
Oh yeah, not a complaint, just an observation that
yeah. No, it's an interesting, there are no hard and fast rules about what works and what doesn't work. Empire wasn't strictly successful because it had parallel action. It was just one of the tools.
So do you think he's bringing Baby Yoda back to Werner Herzog, or is he going somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm assuming he's on his way back to Werner Herzog.
Even though they might kill the Baby Yoda. Well,
there is that concern. I guess we'll see. I'm assuming there was some kind of tense moment, because I think that Dr. What was his name?
Evigan.
No.
Pershing.
Hershey?
Dr. Pershing.
Dr. Hershey.
Pershing.
Okay. I'm assuming that Dr. Hershey would want to keep him alive. Because he seemed startled when Werner Herzog said, that dead was acceptable.
Right.
But also maybe not. Maybe that's, maybe Dr. Hershey is a Nazi doctor who wants to do vivisection to figure out what makes, Yodel tick.
Yeah. Figure anyone working for the Empire, they can't have good.
Right. Although from what we've been told, the Empire doesn't really exist at this point.
Right.
So it's.
I think he'll bring him back, but then some complication will come up. He won't want to hand the baby over.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It'd be interesting. A quarter of the way through, we'll see how this. How does this break down? Like, what's the end? How does season 1 end? It'll be an interesting. I think, and not to get too. I think that the heartwarming part of him be snuffed out. I think it might end with him killing Yodel.
No way.
Might be.
No way. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, because he's not a good guy.
Right. I hope you're right. That would be a bold choice. So what do you rate this episode?
I think I liked this one more than the last one. I liked the last one a lot. But I think I like this one more. I could be. It's tough, that the expectations were kind of raised, and that they were high going into the first one, and then the fact that it was pretty good made it that okay. Well, now they have to live up to that, and I feel like it did. I really enjoyed it. I like the Jawa stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I like this one more. So what do we give? What did we give? What did we give? We gave it a 10.
I think I gave it I think you maybe gave it a 9, and I think I gave it a 10 out of 11.
Right. Well, no, a 10 out of. We don't know where the scale is going to take us.
Right.
So if I give it a 9, then I'll give this one a 10. I like it.
You give it a 10. Okay.
Out of who knows what.
I'm gonna go. I was a little bit more critical. I think this one didn't have as much. It didn't seem like it had as much to it in terms of like I like the Jawa stuff, but it basically ends at the same exact spot that the last episode did with him with the baby getting ready to leave the planet. So,
right.
It's a lot of. It's an entertaining side road, but it is a side road nonetheless, and I wish there could have been a little bit more development in terms of the plot. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought the first one was so much richer in terms of like the world building and the stuff we got to see and the concepts, and this one has cool stuff in it, but it just seems a little simpler than the other one does. So
I like simple and well done. That's always going to be a hit with me. So
I hate things that are well done.
Right. Yeah, I know. You're always complaining about our show.
I like sloppy and amateur better. I guess that'll wrap it up.
Yeah. Do you have any speculation? What I know you asked if you thought I thought he was going to. Wait, what? You asked if I thought he was going to go to drop off the package with Werner Herzog. Do you think that's where he's headed?
I think he will, and when he gets there, like something will make him not want to go through with it, and then it'll be a matter of everyone trying to track him down to get the baby,
blasting his way out of there.
I think the series ultimately will end with him handing Baby Yoda off to, let's say, Mo.
Oh. It better not be Wookiees.
Why?
Because there's the whole Yoda and the Wookiees thing. I'm still not over it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there better not be him handing off Baby Yoda to the Wookiees.
Yeah, it's so one thing I forgot to mention last week was the presence of a Gonk droid. We did not bring that up. The Gonk droid leads the Boba Fett into Werner Herzog's office, and it's like a slick, almost like a more like a Trans Am-y kind of Gonk droid. It's like all like black polished and stuff. It's not all like rough and.
I love that they're all like that. There's all the different variations of Gonks and astromechs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Presence of Gonk is something like it needs to be a concept. But I just looking over my notes, I forgot we didn't touch on the point where they're first negotiating with the Jawas, and the Jawas want the armor, and Ugnaughtus is like, he's a Mandalorian. He's not going to give you his Valyrian steel armor.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were wary of him and they wanted him to get rid of his guns, he said, "I'm a Mandalorian."
Weapons are a religion.
Yeah, which is interesting. So that's two little blip bits about Mandalorians that we are learning.
That guns are part of their religion.
Guns are part of their religion, and that that other cultures seem to know little bits about their armor and their how important it is to them.
But what the Jawas have done with his armor, I wonder.
Oh, they traded it. They could have sold that for.
Oh, that's true. It was worth $1 billion. So. They just
but
melt it down into a brick.
Also, I'm hoping that we only continue to learn tidbits about that. I'm hoping that there's not all of this stuff. I'm hoping that there's just a little bit, little bits that we learn. I hope there's not well, here's how it all works out. We learn everything about Mandalorian society and Yoda's race and all this other stuff. I like getting these little bits, these little just side mentions, so we get clues that we can, put it together ourselves as much as we want. But I don't want to have it all laid out for me.
Yeah. Like the original Star Wars, part of the fun of it was that you didn't know anything about, you were kind of that culture shock of what the heck's going on with these, just trying to piece together the world you're in just from overheard bits of dialogue and stuff like that. So, yeah. Well, if you've enjoyed our analysis of The Mandalorian, why not check out our podcast, Star Wars Minute? You can go to StarWarsMinute.com or find it on all your local podcast providers. We have analyzed the first 7 movies, and I guess by the time this airs, we'll be
Nope,
not yet. We'll be on the verge of the of the Rouge One coverage. So
exactly. And then if you like this kind of a thing, if you've already heard Star Wars Minute and you're a fan of this show now, don't forget we have a Patreon too at StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon, Patreon, and you can get more just kind of general analysis and
hello there.
The usual kind of whatever, up to date news, whatever we can find.
Yeah.
And that's available for Patreon supporters, and then also we have random other stuff that pops up over there. So if you like this, go check that out, and it helps bring it all together.
Do we know when the next episode of The Mandalorian is going to plop?
Next Friday, I've been told.
So now I guess Friday will be the regular thing.
Yeah, these will probably happen on Fridays. So
all right.
Cool. Yeah. So expect it coming up then. We will be we'll be back in various capacities. Keep an eye out for us all over the place with Star Wars stuff as it comes up. It's a very exciting time to be Star Wars. And we'll see you next week on The Mindalorian.
Mindalorian.